Every day, millions of people make the same mistake. They forget about safety. One wrong move, one moment of distraction, and work turns into tragedy. On this channel, we show how a single mistake changes everything. Enjoy watching. On a bustling container terminal, a worker in a high-vis vest was at a fence near a loaded yellow truck. Suddenly, the truck slowly reversed. The worker, focused on his task, didn't notice, and the driver, unaware of the worker in his blind spot, pressed him against the fence. This horrifying event illustrated a critical breakdown in awareness and safety communication. This incident highlights the deadly risks of vehicle movements in shared areas when drivers lack full awareness. To prevent such tragedies, stringent safety is critical. Always use spotters for reversing. Equip vehicles with alarms and blind spot monitors. Ensure workers wear high-vis and avoid vehicle paths. Create pedestrian-only zones and mandate 360-degree driver walkarounds. Vigilance and proactive communication are paramount for safety. On a bustling container terminal, a worker in a high-vis vest was at a fence near a loaded yellow truck. Suddenly, the truck slowly reversed. The worker, focused on his task, didn't notice, and the driver, unaware of the worker in his blind spot, pressed him against the fence. This horrifying event illustrated a critical breakdown in awareness and safety communication. This incident highlights the deadly risks of vehicle movements in shared areas when drivers lack full awareness. To prevent such tragedies, stringent safety is critical. Always use spotters for reversing. Equip vehicles with alarms and blind spot monitors. Ensure workers wear high-vis and avoid vehicle paths. Create pedestrian-only zones and mandate 360-degree driver walkarounds. Vigilance and proactive communication are paramount for safety. A worker was riding in the open bed of a truck, which was slowly entering a building entrance with insufficient overhead clearance. As the truck moved, the worker attempted to duck, but the low structure forced his body into a severely unnatural and strained posture. This sustained, awkward bending against the structure resulted in a grave spinal injury, even though he did not fall. The truck continued its slow progress, with the injured worker remaining in the bed. This tragic incident highlights critical safety failures in vehicle operation and personnel transport. Personnel should never ride in the open bed of a truck, especially when approaching structures with limited overhead clearance. All low clearance areas must be clearly marked with height restrictions and no rider zones, and workers must disembark and maintain a safe distance before vehicles enter such spaces. Drivers must always be aware of their vehicle's dimensions and ensure a safe clearance path. In a cluttered factory yard, a forklift was observed moving, seemingly entangled with or pulling on a cable connected to a nearby electrical pole. A worker was standing in the vicinity of the pole. Suddenly, the power pole violently snapped and collapsed directly into the area where the worker was located. Moments after the impact, the worker attempted to stand up but immediately collapsed to the ground, succumbing to his injuries shortly thereafter. This tragic incident highlights severe deficiencies in industrial safety. Heavy machinery operators must be fully aware of overhead hazards like power poles and cables, ensuring clear pathways. Factory yards require clear, organized layouts with designated pedestrian zones and secured infrastructure, and electrical poles must be regularly inspected for stability. Strict safety protocols enforcing safe distances between moving equipment and workers are paramount, with all personnel remaining alert to potential falling objects or structural failures. On an active drilling rig, a worker in protective gear was near heavy drilling equipment. Without warning, this machinery suddenly and violently jerked at high speed, striking the worker. The worker was instantly thrown to the ground due to the forceful impact, highlighting the severe danger posed by uncontrolled machinery movement. This tragic incident highlights critical safety failures. Heavy equipment demands thorough inspection and maintenance to prevent uncontrolled movements. Strict exclusion zones are vital around operational machinery. Comprehensive training in hazard recognition and emergency protocols is essential for all workers to maintain situational awareness. In a busy industrial loading bay, a worker responsible for managing a large metal gate positioned himself in close proximity to the gate as a heavy truck began its slow and deliberate exit. As the truck gradually pulled forward, the worker's right arm unexpectedly became caught and subsequently crushed with immense force between the side of the truck trailer and the rigid metal gate structure. This catastrophic entrapment resulted in the immediate and traumatic severance of his arm. Other personnel in the immediate vicinity quickly rushed to the scene, reacting with urgency to provide emergency assistance for the severe and sudden injury. This incident highlights critical failures in industrial safety and spatial awareness. Strict safety zones around all moving vehicles and clear communication between drivers and ground personnel are paramount. Gate operations must be performed from a position of absolute safety, free from crush zones. All workers need comprehensive training on vehicle blind spots and dynamic hazards to prevent such accidents. In a dimly lit outdoor work area at night, workers were attempting to stabilize a large white van using improvised ropes, pipes, and planks. Suddenly, the makeshift support failed on one side, causing the van to shift dramatically. A heavy metal pipe then fell and struck a worker in the vicinity, causing immediate injury. This tragic incident highlights severe failures in planning and execution of hazardous tasks. All heavy object operations require meticulous planning and certified equipment. Improvised supports are unacceptable. Strict exclusion zones are essential around unstable loads, keeping all personnel safe from potential falling objects or collapsing structures. Adequate lighting for night operations is also crucial, as poor visibility significantly increases accident risk. On an active construction site, a large blue industrial silo was being moved or adjusted by what appeared to be a smaller, orange forklift-like machine, while a massive mobile crane stood nearby. Suddenly, the boom of the large mobile crane suffered a catastrophic structural failure, causing it to violently collapse downwards. The falling crane boom directly struck the smaller, orange machine, which was directly in its path. The impact was forceful and immediate, resulting in the instant fatality of the operator inside the smaller machine. This tragic incident highlights severe safety failures. All heavy lifting equipment requires rigorous, frequent inspection to prevent mechanical failures. Strict exclusion zones are paramount around active heavy machinery, ensuring no personnel or equipment are within the potential fall radius. Operators must be trained to recognize instability signs to prevent cascading accidents.